Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to discuss the astrological energies from August 28th until September 4th as we enter into September with some big shifts in the energy field. Plus, we have a Virgo New Moon, a super cosmic Venus, and quite a few transiting aspects unfolding over this week, including important shifts with both Uranus and Pluto. So we've got a lot to cover. So let's just dive in and get started on the energies of August 28th. Now, August 28th is where we're going to have Mercury stationed direct at 21 degrees of Leo. That occurs at 5:14 p.m. That's Eastern Time. You could feel the energy shift then later in the afternoon and in the evening. And keep in mind that this is Mercury standing still from our perspective here on our planet. And Mercury is standing still in the fire sign of Leo. So there is a fire burning inside. There is energy gathering, momentum, inspiration, growth. There could also be a rising need to express yourself, to get something off your chest, even to be clearer in decisions you've been pondering during the Mercury retrograde phase. So with this Mercury stationing direct in a fire sign, the energy is building up. And as Mercury moves forward, there will be release opportunities as well as momentum gathering. Now, with this particular Mercury, you want to make sure that you've thought things through and you're okay with whatever has cleared out for you during the retrograde phase. And even to be strengthening those decisions or what you've realized is not going to go forward with you. You're no longer interested. It no longer connects with you. It's no longer a part of who you are now. And the Mercury retrograde assists us in being more intentional with our decision making as we have time to assess what stays and what goes. And Mercury will be in Leo until September 8th, where the messenger planet re-enters Virgo, and then will clear that shadow territory of 4 degrees of Virgo on September 12th. So as the momentum picks up and energy moves forward, you may be connecting with new energies of creation, what you're ready to take a risk on, as well as perhaps anything that your inner child has healed or communicated to you through the retrograde period. And that's because Leo is connected to the inner child that wants to play and be light and have freedom to be itself. Maybe you heard some messages or gathered some understanding that has been very healing for you. And the reason why it could be quite healing is because this Mercury is still in a trine to Chiron retrograde in Aries, which is that self-identity, independent spirit, and willingness to trust yourself as you move forward in your life. So I feel this particular Mercury stationing direct provides more healing insights into parts of yourself that you weren't fully owning. There's a new level of ownership here. And this energy is also key during the Virgo New Moon on September 2nd. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But keep in mind that Mercury in Leo is trining Chiron retrograde in Aries for about a week. And this is going to offer you more ways of being confident in your own skin, taking the risk to be yourself, and assert your needs because the fire signs are assertive, and to approach a story, message, communication from a healed place that sets you free. So it could be fascinating to observe in yourself what's becoming clearer August 28th until the Virgo New Moon on September 2nd. Also on August 28th, Venus in Virgo opposes Neptune retrograde in Pisces at 29 degrees. And this is where the dream, the idea, the vision can seem out of reach because Venus in Virgo is practical and she wants to know how is that going to happen? How is that going to come come together. When we have a planet in Virgo opposing Neptune retrograde in Pisces, there can be a disconnect from reality where it seems like a great feeling, a great intuitive download, but a part of you is like, yeah, but it doesn't really work in my real life. This energy could also make it harder to get going on something or to work and focus, because that Neptune and Pisces can be distractions, avoidance, procrastination. There can be a desire to, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to write this email. I don't want to look at this today. I'd rather just go scroll through my phone and escape all of this. Then the Venus energy greatly shifts on August 29th as she enters Leo in the morning at 9:23 a.m. Eastern Time, and then has an immediate trine to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 0 degrees. This is an empowering, transformative energy where now Venus is being supported in the collective energy field beyond what she has known before. And this Venus is entering into some super cosmic territory as she moves into Libra. And I'll get to that in just a moment. But it's important to note that Venus in Libra wants to make others happy. She enjoys good conversation. She has style. She's aware of what other people think. She wants to talk things through and find those win-win scenarios. She is savvy, social, intelligent, and enjoys relating to others. And now she has an intense connection to Pluto that wants her to supercharge her needs, to understand more of what she requires in her life and in herself, but to not allow that to be determined by other people, especially groups, which is Aquarius. Pluto moving through Aquarius is transforming the power of groups, including acquaintances, friendships, networks, social media connections. It's asking us to stay true to who we authentically are and not lose ourselves in the collective mindset or group think dynamics. So as Venus moves into Libra, has this connection to Pluto, she also is experiencing a grand air trine with Sedna in Gemini, and she will be conjunct the Super Galactic Center at 2 degrees of Libra, August 30th and 31st. Now, the Super Galactic Center is different than the Galactic Center, which is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. The Super Galactic Center is actually composed of over 50 galaxies. That's right, 50 galaxies at a minimum compose the Super Galactic Center. So when she's conjunct that energy, she is receiving so many powerful transmissions through not only the trine to Pluto, but the trine to Sedna in Gemini and conjunct the Super Galactic Center. And this is important because this energy is going to play out again the end of September as the sun moves into Libra. And then we have our final Libra solar eclipse at 10 degrees, October 2nd. So I believe the energy that starts the end of August carries into October, and it's occurring in the early degrees of Libra in your chart. And you are connecting to some very influential galactic energies around partnerships, relating, reciprocity, giving and receiving, healthy communication, as well as healthy connections. And I feel this is really transformative. I also feel that it's activating starseed energies that maybe have been dormant, and you could have memory recall or some kind of incoming flood of energy that awakens you to the types of connections and partnerships you want in your life that are fair and just and harmonious, that have a natural synchronicity to them that maybe you've never even experienced before in this lifetime. And that is why I'm calling this a super cosmic Venus, because relational dynamics are being up-leveled. They're beyond what we've known before, and they're meant to take us into higher places within ourselves that are more balanced, more harmonious, more connected, and we're seeking those types of connections in others as well. Now, at the same time, because we're not done yet with Venus, she is also conjunct Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, in the early degrees of Libra, and conjunct the South Node in Libra. Now, she makes an exact conjunction to Black Moon Lilith on September 5th, which is also when she's conjunct the South Node at 7 degrees of Libra. So this can sound quite repetitive. We keep talking about these early degrees of Libra and how it's time to call in and experience new relationships that are better for you, that honor your spiritual growth and your ascension, that honor what you've come to understand about who you are and what you need. Yet with the conjunction to the South Node and Black Moon Lilith, you've got to be real about what you don't want anymore and the parts of yourself that are no longer going to participate in certain dynamics. Now, the lower aspects of Venus in Libra involves too much people pleasing, like doing something to make other people happy and not taking in what you need. This Venus in Libra can also be highly comparative. She can go into comparison around things that really don't matter, but she thinks it does, especially in terms of status or style and how she shows up and what she has and who she knows. She has to move above that, rise above any type of comparison, because in truth, you can't compare yourself to anyone. That's part of the journey of authenticity as well as spiritual growth, is that you realize there is no comparison. That's a lose-lose game. And in fact, it's a waste of energy. So Venus in Libra is going to have to be very honest with herself around the relational dynamics that are no longer healthy for her. And here's what this could look like. It could look like you have to do something, say something, or express yourself in a way that you know other people aren't going to like. And they might be upset with you, or they might disagree, or they might not be on the same page, and they hold it against you, or they're mad at you. And the Libra energy doesn't like that. Libra doesn't want anger or confrontation. Libra wants harmony and will then step in and say, okay, fine, I won't do that. What can I do to make you happy? Or what can I do to remedy this? How can we calm this down? But with these strong galactic influences, you're being supported in not doing that, to not be the people pleaser to your own detriment, to not think you have to make it right or you have to create the peace. This is about shifting some of these unconscious patterns that might make other people upset, but it's also going to give you a new level of self-respect and personal strength. And this is going to be testing Venus, because Venus conjunct the South Node and Black Moon Lilith is looking at things that have been hurtful, maybe traumatic, damaging, where you've held resentment or anger, whatever the case may be. Now you have to stand stronger in a new truth and not allow other people's energies to sway you off your balance. Is this good for you? Is it resonating for you? Does it feel powerful and true in your heart, in your mind, in your energy? Is this something that if you were to remove all other forms of feedback or opinions or thoughts or votes, at the end of the day, would you feel good about it? Because that's what Venus is meant to trust. What is best for you? Prioritize what you need, and then what you pull in that Venus is good at. Venus in Libra is explaining it. Explaining your thoughts and your reasoning, explaining how you arrived at a decision, explaining why this is correct for you, and allowing your communication to demonstrate what you need and what you want. So with this energy, there could be ruffled feathers, there could be disagreements, but what I'm seeing is to then pull back your energy and don't feel like you have to sort it out or solve it. It's almost like breaking the pattern of being too nice, whether you're always the nice girl or the nice guy. It's breaking that pattern if you're realizing you don't want to do that anymore because it hasn't been good for you. And maybe it's even created resentment towards yourself or towards others. So this super cosmic Venus is bringing into focus what we do to appease others and what is the cost? What is it costing you? And at the end of the day, does it take you out of balance and is it not fair to you? Because this would be the time to balance the energies in a higher form that maybe you're doing for the first time in your life. It certainly depends on your chart, but if you have planets or points in the first 10 degrees of Libra, actually I'm going to say 0 to 11 degrees of Libra, late August into October is an important time for you to try something new and to trust yourself in what you need to voice and communicate. Now, it's funny, I'm also getting this visual of people who come towards you with their hands out, like their palms open. So maybe this is too specific, but I'm seeing like the owner of a company, a boss, a manager, someone in charge who is like a nice, kind person, but people take advantage of it and they want more from you all the time. You know, they want you to do more for them or to take on this or to cover that. I'm actually getting the example of shoes. Like, I don't know if this is a theater production, something like, can you buy me these Louis Vuitton shoes because I want to wear these for the production, even though they're outside of the budget. And people know that you're a yes person. Like you're a yes guy, you're a yes girl, like you'll tell them yes. But they take advantage of it and you know it and you're aware of it and you feel it and you sense it and you're like, okay, no more free lunches. The company is not buying everyone new shoes, or I'm no longer going to cover all of your costs for this, that, and the other thing. It's that type of energy where you understand this is not serving you. People are taking advantage or using you because of how nice and kind you are. And you're aware of the dynamic and you're done with it. You're done with it as part of your own soul growth. You're done with it because you're not going to play into what other people need or want from you. I'm also feeling a group energy. Okay, I'm seeing kindergartners. Like the kindergartners who know they can get a little bit more recess time all the time. So this is going to be changing the trajectory and environments that have been out of balance. And that's the bigger overarching message here, is that you're bringing something into balance that you know has been out of balance, or perhaps a part of you has been out of balance. And this is a galactic reset that honors more of your power, needs, and making conscious choices. Libra is the energy of choices, the choices we make. So if you've been on the seesaw of making choices for other people, now you bring it back into balance by also acknowledging the parts of yourself that just weren't able to do that previously, but to be kind about it to yourself. This energy continues into October because we're also going to have the Sun and Mercury in Libra moving across these same conjunctions with the South Node and Black Moon Lilith, plus trining Sedna in Gemini, and also the conjunction to the Super Galactic Center. So it's going to move on to the next day, but I'm getting another message here to share with you that it's really important to have supportive self-talk when you're doing something new, to be encouraging and validating of yourself and to know like, it was time for this. This has gone on too long, or I handled it well. I was honest. I was direct. It threw them off, or it threw this person off, but that's theirs to figure out. You don't have to solve it for other people. You don't need to take on what they're processing and help them through it. There's almost like this very quick detachment as well, where you just slice it out, like you slice out the energy or you slice out any of the ruffled feathers and allow yourself to step back and detach, because often it's the person who holds the higher frequency who provides the growth or learning for others, which also means you provide the lessons. You provide them with opportunities to reflect on how they're using their energy, if they were taking advantage of things or whatever the case may be. But the person who holds the higher frequency is the one who also has to be strong in their decision making, and you might even feel relief. You might even feel like, I finally said that. I finally did that. And it can feel like you're lighter and freer And at the end of the day, you'll probably notice you have more self-respect for who you are and how you're able to honor boundaries, exchanges, and relational dynamics. So then this leads us to September. Now, September 1st, Uranus stations retrograde at 27 degrees, 15 minutes of Taurus at the same time that Pluto retrograde re-enters Capricorn. So with Pluto returning to Capricorn after being in the quantum expansive energies of Aquarius, what are you bringing back down to earth that you have experienced and perhaps captured in the higher frequencies of Aquarius? What are you realizing about your path and your soul growth that is inspiring you to feel more empowered and to move ahead? So therefore, we come back to the earthly realms of Capricorn and we see more of what needs to change, be completed, permanently close out, and understand that it's no longer connected to your future. And so Pluto coming back into Capricorn is part of a much bigger story because Pluto first moved into Capricorn in 2008, 2009. So here we are finishing up a 15 to 16 year journey towards how you are showing up in the real world with greater mastery, power, responsibility, and commitment to what you're doing in this lifetime. Now, these are all really big themes, and I've been talking about them for years, so it's not like I can just surmise them here in a few minutes. But understand that Pluto returning to Capricorn is similar to graduating from one school, literally some type of educational environment. You graduate, you move on, and then you come back to check it out. And everything feels smaller. It looks different. It smells weird. You're like, how did I show up here every day for a full school year, for multiple school years? Because when you come back, you're different. Even though everything in that environment has stayed the same, you're different. And that's part of this Pluto returning to Capricorn. Honor how you're different. Don't change it to fit into where you were. Honor how you've grown and understanding more of who you are, because Aquarius opens us up to more of our individual spirit and spark. But then when you come back to these older environments, you realize, I don't fit in here. I don't even like it here. How did I not notice that this is a horrible paint color? You see things with different eyes, but that's meant to show you how much you have changed and evolved. So Pluto returning to Capricorn, we come back to a part of our earthly experience, but we see it in a different way. And there's more that you now might need to finish up, put a period on the end of the sentence, close out anything that you left behind, and allow it to be one chapter on your journey. Even though it deeply changed you, it pushed you into parts of yourself you had to understand and accept. There are always challenges with Pluto transits. We have to get very real and raw with ourselves. We have to face our true emotions and the intensity of a deep experience. All of that is transformative. You might even feel that you're clearer and lighter. As Pluto returns to Capricorn from September 1st until November 20th, you could feel that you're more detached, you're more mature, you have a whole new take and perspective on your life and on yourself. So honor that, keep that, but bring the new parts of yourself back into these environments, and don't let the old environments infringe on these new parts of yourself. And that could be the test. That could be the test where you're like, I'm different, but they're not, or this environment isn't. I've changed and I don't fit here anymore, but I still have to take care of some things in order to close out this chapter. And also on September 1st, Uranus is stationing retrograde at 27 degrees, 15 minutes of Taurus, as I mentioned. And this is where the energy of Uranus is reverberating loudly. It is shaking the walls. It is shaking the ground. And Uranus stirs things up. There's an impatience. There's a recklessness. There's a restlessness here. And at 27 degrees of Taurus, it directly connects to the Pleiadian constellation and allows us to download greater insights about our life and mission on the planet in this lifetime. And that's because the Pleiadians are over 400 light years away from us in a different dimension, a whole different timeline. And you could feel like you're being zapped with the energies of other timelines and dimensions. And there could be some big awakenings here, a sense of freedom. Also, who am I living my life for? Am I living my life for this, that, or the other thing? Or am I living my life because it's in beautiful alignment with what I value and what I want, how I want to experience the earth and this planet, and how I want to make the most of my time here? So big Uranian transits bring up life changes that either you want to make now or you've been thinking about making. In Taurus, the energy tends to be slower, and you could need more time to look at how it would practically come together. If you have the money, if you have the necessary next steps that line up. But this is where something is shaking. It's shaking and possibly breaking. The walls are tumbling down even, especially if the energy is not in the same frequency as the collective. So September begins with some big messages. So stay open to that. Big messages here from how much you've changed, what you want to change, and how that fits into your own earthly experiences at this time. Then we move on to the Virgo New Moon on September 2nd. Now, this new moon is at 11 degrees of Virgo, and it will be exact at 9:56 p.m. Eastern Time. So later in the day on Monday, September 2nd. And the Virgo New Moon is where we come back to our body and align all of our chakras and frequencies with a clarifying intention that simplifies your life, brings you clarity, helps to support organizing any chaos or overwhelm, and grounds you into what you need to take care of. Virgo is a responsible energy, and you could have a new awareness around your priorities as we move into the fourth quarter of the year. This particular Virgo new moon is opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces at 16 degrees, which adds more of a pause energy to stop and listen, to not allow the mind to take over. Instead, sink into and trust what you're feeling and what intuitive guidance is arriving for you. There is more self-reflection here with this particular Virgo new moon, and that Saturn is helping you be clear and honest about what's closing out. I feel that this is a new moon of looking at what is too much in your life, what you don't want to be responsible for, what you do not want on your desk, and there is maybe even a necessity to clear it out and let it go. This Virgo new moon also begins eclipse season. And that's because 2 weeks from now, we have our first Pisces lunar eclipse on September 17th. And this new moon starts that cycle. So I feel that this Saturn opposition in Pisces is a gift. It's a gift of aligning with the Pisces themes so that by the time we get to that Pisces lunar eclipse, you're already aware of what you're ending, especially at a soul level. You're connected to the release and the removal. I see the Pisces lunar eclipse as unraveling what we've already worked through and allowing it to fall away and dissolve. So this Virgo new moon wants you to take that necessary pause and break to align yourself with what is important and what is not. And again, you might realize there's a lot that's not important right now. Even if your mind thought it was, or other people were telling you, you got to get this done. This is an important task. We're going all in on this project. You could be listening to the whispers that say, this isn't even gonna go anywhere. This isn't something I want to put a lot of effort into. I don't see this as a long-term endeavor. So trust what you're feeling here, because it actually could challenge what the mind, which is a Virgo strength, what the mind has been planning or perhaps even hyper-focused on. Now, also on September 2nd, Mercury in Leo has that exact trine to Chiron in Aries, which I touched on earlier in the podcast. And both of these planets are co-rulers of Virgo. Mercury is known as the traditional ruler of Virgo, but Chiron has demonstrated that it has a strong affinity to Virgo. And so when they're in a trine in the fire signs, you can feel a new part of yourself rising up that is healed or healing, that is stronger and more competent, that is ready to grow and express yourself. And that could be the part of you that feels like you know more of who you are now because of the wounds you had to heal and how you've had to trust a process that was slower than anticipated. But this Virgo new moon could give you that new lease on life, as well as a deeper connection to the body. This might be a month when you restart an exercise regime or begin a new lifestyle habit. You could feel that your body is needing different nutrients, different foods. You're looking or seeking more ways to be active in your life. And we also have Mars in Gemini squaring Neptune retrograde in Pisces at 29 degrees. This happens right before Mars enters Cancer. But Mars squaring Neptune can be feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, tired. You don't have the physical energy to take things on, even though the mind is running and the mind has a lot of ideas and maybe feels like it can be hard to settle the mind. Mars squaring Neptune is a slowdown and rest. Rest and listen to the body. Does it feel healthy? Are there any symptoms you need to be aware of? When you really tune in to your body consciousness, what message are you receiving? So all of this is part of that Virgo new moon. Then September 4th, Mars enters Cancer. And this ingress into Cancer is actually a big deal because Mars is going to spend a lot of time in Cancer due to the upcoming retrograde that begins in December. Now, what happens is Mars goes through all of Cancer and then enters Leo on November 4th, travels to 6 degrees of Leo and stations retrograde December 6th, then re-enters Cancer January 6th and stays in Cancer until April 19th. So overall, we're going to have about 6 months of Mars in Cancer. And I'm going to get into that more. I'll be doing a separate podcast on that transit specifically. But this is your heads up that Mars entering into Cancer is going to be activating, triggering, and stirring up Cancer energies. This can relate to family, home, your emotional world, emotional space, themes around motherhood, both being a mom and your mom, themes around safety, security, certainly the housing market, local environments, tribal energies. Cancer is your first experience of a tribe, a family unit, what that looks like, what that means for you, but it also pulls in ancestors and genealogy. So there can be some surprises and developments there in your family history. Mars in Cancer is also going to dig into any lingering resentments, feelings or emotions you haven't fully processed, and ultimately help you arrive at new ways of trusting yourself, your intuition, and what you're feeling. So as Mars enters Cancer September 4th, Mars will actually not be in retrograde territory in September. Retrograde territory begins at 17 degrees of Cancer. So from 0 to 16 degrees of Cancer, there's going to be stuff coming up for you to process, feel through, work through, maybe jump in the pool and swim it out, take some beautiful, soothing Epsom salt baths, or just go spend 6 months in a thermal spa. The water will be soothing and help with transmuting energies. Mars is debilitated in Cancer, which means he's not at his strength. He can't just go for it. Rather, he moves sideways. He swims around it. He doesn't direct his energy full on. And this is also where the energy and emotions can build up behind a dam. But we are going to see that dam burst since Mars in Cancer will have a direct opposition to Pluto in Capricorn November 4th and 5th, so right during the US presidential election day. Right on that day. And now this is where I want to ask you a question. I'm going to ask this question a few more times just to allow you to check in with yourself. But my question is, how much of your nervous system and emotional body is connected to the US presidential election? And does that feel healthy for you? Is that how you want to use your energy? Is that the best investment of your energy? So just keep in mind that, of course, we are powerful creators of our energy. And if you feel you're overly invested or overly affected by matters occurring within the 3D, this is your opportunity to always balance it and look at where the energy can go higher or where it feels more empowered. And I think this would be a responsible way for us to work with the Mars in Cancer, is to just stay aware of how our energies are effective, because Cancer absorbs. Cancer is very receptive. And so you can be feeling a lot right now. You could be feeling the collective energies. You could be feeling a lot of emotions all around you that aren't even yours. So do keep that in mind, that the water signs can take in a lot, but it's also our responsibility to establish healthy boundaries and necessary filters. Look at what you need to filter out, clean out, maybe put it in the dryer and spin it around so that it's no longer clogging your energy or just hanging out free of charge. And so all of this is in 1 week. A lot going on this week, obviously, a lot happening and transitioning and moving into new territory. Remember, we have that Venus, super cosmic Venus. We have Pluto re-entering Capricorn, Uranus stationing retrograde, Mars entering Cancer, and oh yeah, that Virgo new moon. You may receive proof of your own transformation. You might see how much you've shifted and let go of as we move into September. I also hope you feel validation of where you've strengthened your energy and you're becoming more of your true self after a lot of work, healing, and self-reflection. I believe that a lot of starseeds are going to be amplified throughout September. You're going to come to life in a whole new way after unraveling parts of yourself that aren't true and really digging into more of what you want to create and experience in this life. I do feel that as we move into next year, more starseeds are going to be on path, on mission, really serving humanity at a whole new level. And I think that September is a powerful activation of that purpose. So stay positive during these big energies. Stay aware of your power as a creator and what you can experience with these big diverse energies. And stay open to the miracles and unexpected developments that can present themselves. I also think that's going to be a big part of September and October as we move further into eclipse season. If your birthday is coming up in September or October, definitely check out my solar return course where I teach you how to read your solar return chart, because you could be having your birthday around one of these eclipses, which means it's a supercharged year ahead for you. An eclipse birthday amplifies changes, opens up more on your life path. There can be really big beginnings as well. So I cover that in this course. And even if your birthday is not around an eclipse this year, you still want to see what your themes are in your solar return chart, because you'll understand more about what the 12 months ahead holds for you, including where there is healing potential, openings and opportunities, where some of the lessons are going to show up, plus the areas of life that you're going to be focusing on. And what's really cool about the solar return charts is that you could look at it and say, oh, that's interesting. My sun is in the 10th house this year. And I don't know what that could be, because I'm happy with my job. I'm good with where I'm at. I like my boss. I like what I do. But if your sun is in the 10th house in your solar return, it means that there will be areas of growth and opportunities for you there that might not show up for a number of months, but at least you have a heads up that this is the area of life that is going to be a focal point for you. So the solar return is an awesome tool. And when you buy it once, you get to come back and revisit it every year. So this is also a reminder for those of you who have previously purchased how to read your solar return chart. Be sure to log back in to this course, create your solar return chart for the year ahead, and then go through all of the lessons to understand more of what's going to be showing up for you. And you can get the course for 50% off with coupon code BIRTHDAY. So I will put the link below the podcast. As always, thank you for joining me. I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday with a new podcast episode. And I'm planning on doing a YouTube Live on August 29th. That'll be listed here on my channel. I believe that'll happen at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for those of you who can show up and say hello. It's great to connect with you during these exchanges. So have a beautiful entry into September. Have a lovely Virgo New Moon. And I look forward to continuing our conversation next week.